Charging my tech. Ooh, man. Wasn't even expecting this. Well, actually, I kind of knew. No matter how this was going to go, I was going to pull up a little bit of a streamy stream. Specifically because I know the salt mines. Oh, man, the salt mines have to be building. The anger has to be high. Emotions. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be a nasty place to be on Twitter. I won't be involved in this, but I mean, it's going to be funny. It's going to be funny. Ooh. This becomes an entirely. Hold on, let me finish this. Dang, I'm gonna have to get back on the game later. That's nasty work. Oh man, it's fine. I hope I don't stay too long. But I feel like this is about to be a long thing because I know the salt's coming. I know the salt is coming. Oh, I know the salt is coming. I just know the salt is coming. No matter how you look at it, the salt is coming. And it's about to be treacherous. Oh, it's about to be treacherous. Okay. Let's get this started. Because I need to see how y'all feeling right now. Okay. Woo! What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. You see the title. Let's not play. You know what this is about. I know how this is going to go. The way it was last year when Lamar won it, I knew how that was going to look because I sat back and said last year I felt Christian McCaffrey should have got it. The way he performed, the numbers he put up, everything told me Christian McCaffrey was supposed to get the MVP. And they gave it to Lamar. And there were reasons for Lamar getting it, and there were cases for Lamar getting it, which is why he was able to get it. I didn't have a problem with it. But me, personally, I didn't feel Lamar should have been the MVP. I didn't feel any quarterback should have been the MVP last year. I felt it should have been Christian McCaffrey. I still hold that same sentiment, but I don't make the votes. This year, based on the MVP, I sat back and said it can go to anyone. I saw a case for Lamar. I saw a case for Josh. But I sat here and told you guys, Josh Allen was going to win the MVP. The second Josh Allen scrambled for a touchdown on 4th down to beat the Chiefs, he was going to win MVP. I've said it. I legitimately said it. And I said there's nothing Lamar can do. There was a period. That was the same day Josh Allen beat the undefeated Chiefs. The same day that Josh Allen beat the undefeated Chiefs, Lamar and the Ravens lost to the Steelers. That's when I sat back and said, this is going to Josh. It don't matter how crazy of a performance Lamar's had, how crazy of a season he had. Didn't matter about the numbers. I sat back and said, it's going to Josh. Now, Lamar put up one hell of a fight, and I personally wouldn't have minded if it was co-MVPs. I also wouldn't have minded if Lamar won it. He put up a hell of a fight, had a hell of a season, but I knew it was going to go to Josh. I knew it was going to go to Josh. Now, me, I didn't care about the MVP. I've been very clear about that. Y'all saw throughout the season. Y'all kept asking me about, y'all kept asking me and mentioning and talking about the MVP, and I told y'all 12 billion times, we don't care about the MVP. We got Lamar playing like this and Derrick Henry doing what he's doing. We got to go capitalize on this and win a championship. We don't care about the MVP in Baltimore. We want to win a championship, and you've got Lamar and Derrick Henry. And what ended up happening? We didn't get it done. So everybody in Baltimore is looking at this and saying, we didn't get it done. But, you know, the Lamar fans that are more so focused on Lamar, they're the ones that care about the MVP. Ravens fans, for the most part, they weren't ones that cared about it. They weren't ones that cared. We wanted the ring. Like, if Lamar was in the Super Bowl right now, if he was in New Orleans, we'd be perfectly fine. we wanted the championship. So when it comes to this situation, I already said Josh Allen was going to win it. I didn't have a problem with it. So, yeah. But I already knew Josh Allen was going to win it. The problem is I already knew what the retrospect was going to be. Lamar put up insane monster numbers. He put up historical numbers. Lamar is the first quarterback to throw for over 4,000 yards and rush for 800 plus yards. He rushed for over 900. But yeah, he's the first quarterback in NFL history to do that. At the same time, he's the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 40 plus touchdowns and fewer than 5 interceptions. No one in the history of this game has ever done that. Aaron Rodgers never done that. Lamar had a historical season, one of the greatest seasons we've seen of all time by a quarterback. That right there fully established his Hall of Fame push. That type of season. He already had the 2 MVPs, but that type of season. Lamar Jackson had a season worthy of winning the MVP. But I have spoken and talked about how the MVP is voted, and there's different aspects that go into it. And one of those aspects are moments. Moments matter. Stats isn't the only thing. Lamar had his case last year and ultimately won the Super Bowl. Jesus, I wish he would have won the Super Bowl. And ultimately won the MVP because of those specific moments. Moments like beating the Niners on Christmas, the one-seeded Niners on Christmas. Those were moments you look at. And moments like that ultimately won him the MVP last year, even though I felt Christian McCaffrey should have won it. Guess what? The same rules apply to this year. And who had the 2 biggest moments? Josh Allen, the biggest moment of the season, beating the Chiefs. That 4th down run, that was his MVP moment. You remember in 2019 when Lamar had his MVP moment where he pulled off that spin move against the Bengals, and everyone was like, oh yeah, he probably gonna win this MVP. Josh Allen had his MVP moment. Yeah, the game against the Lions helped solidify that because you beat Detroit, but the moment against the Chiefs, that's the only legitimate loss Kansas City suffered all year. The other loss, they didn't even play their starters. The only loss the Chiefs suffered this year was against Josh Allen. That type of push is why he won the MVP. That moment is why he won MVP. Yeah, he doesn't have the best of numbers, but moments are a factor into the MVP conversation. And I told you guys this. They factor several things. They'll look at your stats. They'll look at your performance. They also look for moments. The fact that he had that moment matters. What Josh Allen did to the Chiefs is no different than what Lamar did to the Niners. Now, granted, Lamar and the Ravens destroyed the Niners, but to beat this Chiefs team, being the only quarterback to beat the Chiefs starters, with Mahomes and everybody out there, that's his MVP moment. And I told you guys when he did that, Josh was going to win MVP. And there was nothing Lamar can do. He could put up historical stats. They were going to give Allen the MVP. I told you guys this. So I'm not surprised. I've already said my congratulations. Congratulations to Josh Allen for becoming an MVP. Absolutely deserves it. Like I said, either one of those candidates could have won it and they would have deserved it. Lamar deserved it. Allen deserved it. Allen's the one that got in the end. He absolutely deserves it. Congratulations to him. And me personally, I'm fine with it. It makes the 2018 class look even better because now you have 2 quarterbacks in the 2018 draft class that are MVPs and future Hall of Famers. I'm cool with that. You know, I'm trying to push narratives about the 2018 draft class. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. So it allows me to push those narratives. 2018 draft class just got stronger. But I will say this, though, about Josh Allen now for the Bills fans. What you got to understand is he's an MVP now. And I said this back. You can go back and check my videos. After Lamar won his first MVP, I said this. Once you become an MVP, everything changes. The discourse around you once you become an MVP is different. And Bills fans, you might have to be prepared to start fighting for your life. Josh Allen fans, you're going to have to start preparing for fighting for your life. Because once you become an MVP, the expectations placed on you and the way you're discussed and talked about is different. For years, us Ravens fans talked about how Lamar was discussed in comparison to how guys like Allen and Herbert were discussed. And everyone sat back and said, well, Lamar is an MVP, so obviously he has to be discussed like this. When you're an MVP, the expectation's higher. Josh Allen didn't have an MVP. Justin Herbert didn't have an MVP. When you're an MVP, you're talked about and discussed differently because the expectations are higher for you. And up until this point, the only ones that were with MVPs other than Lamar were Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. So, of course, the expectations are going to be placed on you if you win MVP. It's going to be placed on Lamar. So we had to deal with that for years. Josh Allen has now entered himself into that conversation. So now the pressure comes up to him. This is where things can become very difficult, because now every single loss, no matter how you look at it, it's going to fall on Josh Allen, whether it's his fault or not. When they can't get it done a week, it's because Josh Allen. Even if he played flawless, it's going to fall on him. Why? Because you're the MVP. If the Bills can't get it done in the playoffs, it's not Josh's fault. Nope. Josh, you are the MVP. If you didn't win in the playoffs being the MVP, it's because of you. Nobody cares about context. That don't matter when you're the MVP. You can look at moments with the Ravens, how they performed in the playoffs, and talk about how guys didn't show up. It don't matter. At the end of the day, Lamar, you're the MVP. It's held on you. So Josh, now that you're the MVP, you're in a different conversation. You're in a different room now. You get to come into that room alongside Lamar and Mahomes and Rodgers as the only individuals in the league with at least an MVP. Now the way you're talked about, now the way you're discussed, they don't just say Bills quarterback Josh Allen. It's MVP Allen. The same way they talk about Lamar, two-time MVP. Hey, here comes the two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. Now it's here comes MVP Josh Allen. That is how you're discussed. That is how you're talked about. The expectation changes. So now it's all about Josh Allen. Nobody cares. Whether you have help or not, nobody gives a damn. You're an MVP now. You have to live up to that. I said this regarding Lamar Jackson when he won MVP in 2019. After the season, once he won it, I sat back and said, now that Lamar's an MVP, granted, it was only his second year. Now that Lamar Jackson's an MVP, the way you're discussed in the media, the expectations placed on you, the way you're talked about is different. It's different because you're an MVP now. So they have to hold you to a different standard. So now you can't talk about Josh Allen the same way you talk about Justin Herbert. You can't. You can't. You have to hold Josh Allen more accountable, whether it's his fault or not. He's the MVP now. So things change. That's at least how it's supposed to be, unless the media is just going to choose to still pretend like that's not how they've always